Top 5 demolitions gone wrong. That day must be the luckiest day for the man who barely dodged the speeding rock coming from a demolition site. When a building has reached its limit or is damaged beyond repair, or the developers just have to make way for new construction, it is demolished. The process by which this is done is extremely precise not to damage any of the surrounding buildings or injure people. But unfortunately, sometimes things do not go as planned where the demolition team faces some casualties. Sometimes these demolitions can go wrong. From buildings falling in the wrong direction to damaging nearby buildings, we are showing 5 demolitions that went wrong in today's video. Number 5. When buildings get destroyed, a huge amount of calculations are done before the actual event takes place. This is done to ensure that there is a small amount or no collateral damage. You also want to ensure that the job is done right for the first time, so that you do not have to come for the second time. But this was not the case for the building in Kankiri, Turkey. A 25-meter-high structure was a former flour factory that had been abandoned after the company went down. It was built in 1928 and was almost damaged as most of the base of the building had already been chipped away. The plan was to demolish this building and build a shopping center. When the explosives were set on the remaining side, the building did not collapse to the ground as expected. Instead, it rolled over its roof, staying steady the entire time. No one could believe what they had just seen. Everybody was shocked. Eyewitnesses described that the building stumbled like a matchbox, and it could have been dangerous as it might have hit the surrounding structures, but the wall prevented this from happening. Luckily, no one was injured during this incident, and no other buildings were damaged. As demolitions involve explosives, crews work hard to figure out where the main supports of the building are, where to set the charges, how powerful the explosion should be, and even when to set off the charge. When this is done systematically, the building falls straight down to the ground with no casualties. But if there is even a single miscalculation, things can happen much differently than planned. Number 4. The next one is a giant 170-foot silo in Denmark that needed to be brought down. Just behind the large silo sat the city's library and cultural center. Again, demolition experts set the charges, cleared out the places surrounding the silo, and made it to the safely cleared zones. With the library and cultural centers coming inside that safely cleared zones, the charges were set off, and the structure started to collapse. However, one side of the silo did not crumble properly. The building started to tilt towards the cultural center, which damaged a significant portion of the building, including the administrative offices, an archive, and a music school. Many witnesses reported that when the silo landed, books and paper inside the library were sent flying through the air. An investigation was conducted to understand what had caused the giant silo to switch sides, as the demolition experts intended to set the explosives correctly. Luckily, no one was injured in the blast. Not all explosions are large-scale or need a team of experts to set explosives. Those jobs are mostly for larger buildings in urban areas. So when it comes to privately owned buildings in rural areas, it is the owners of the structures to get the demolishment done. Most of the time, these owners are farmers or small business owners trying to get their work done without paying a huge amount to a third party. But this does not mean that it is less dangerous than the urban area's buildings. It still requires the same level of planning as the larger jobs. The next one will make you understand my point. Number 3. It was a cotton mill in Pell City, Alabama that was a part of the city's history since 1902, but unfortunately got closed in 2006 and 2 years later got destroyed by a fire. As a result, the city decided to destroy the historic structure as it became a public safety risk. A group of people in this city started destroying the smokestack using a large backhoe to chip away the smokestack base as they did not have explosives. Gradually, the operator tore out the bricks. Eventually, as the structure could not hold the weight, it fell. At first, it was falling straight down, but then it suddenly stopped and started to fall in the direction of the backhoe. The operator quickly tried to protect himself, but it was of no use. The large smokestack collapsed right on the backhoe, burying it under hundreds of bricks. Seeing the structure collapse on the backhoe, onlookers rushed to the vehicle to check on the operator, fearing that he might be badly hurt. But the operator came out of the vehicle. Although shaken and scared, he was alive. The driver was unharmed during the entire incident. Some drone footage showed the backhoe getting crumbled with those bricks, but the overall balance held up, protecting the driver from a near-death situation. After listening to this story, I believe in miracles. Number 2. The next story was the most viewed demolition video on the internet. This building used to be a clothing factory situated in Czech in the city of the Prostate. The company was bankrupt and was abandoned years ago, so it was decided to destroy the building for making a place for new construction. The demolition team did all the calculations, and the charges were set. The spectators were instructed to look from a safe distance. The explosion started from left to right. It was said to be a perfect demolition as there were no direction changes. Rather, it fell straight down to the ground. All the spectators were satisfied until one huge piece of rock from the site shot right at onlookers and past a man's head. Although the spectators had kept a safe distance from the building, I guess it still was not far enough. The rock was said to be flying at a very high speed, but luckily, nobody was hurt as everybody could dodge the softball-looking rock. The man must have considered himself lucky that day. Number 1. The next building is a high-rise apartment situated in China, dominating the city's skyline. It needed to be demolished for new construction. The initial plan was to have the building fall in 2 halves. This is what happened but in different directions. Then the explosions were detonated, and the left half of the building started to collapse as planned. But it suddenly halted and changed its directions, falling onto the side rather than going straight down. On the other hand, the right half of the building was even worse. It initially fell straight down for some time, but then it stopped. Then, finally, it tilted and stayed steady at its position. This was described as one of the most dangerous situations any demolition crew could think of. Not only did the left half of the building destroy other structures and vehicles surrounding the building, but the right half was also what seemed stuck in the air was left in a very dangerous manner. Now, the experts had to find a way to destroy this unstable structure without damaging the surrounding buildings. During this incident, many workers' lives were put at risk. Fortunately, it was again demolished without any injuries. This particular incident must be so devastating to see. Demolition is one of the best things to watch only when it goes right. But these stories show how much danger and risk is involved during the entire process. When things are going your way, they look amazing. But when things are not, they are rather disturbing. These stories indicate how much effort is put into the demolishing process. An alternate way to reduce this risky process is deconstruction. This is also known as construction in reverse. This process dismantles the building components for reusing, recycling, or repurposing. It differs from demolition as the building is brought down with the least risk and requires a higher degree of labor. So I guess demolition can be a boon and a bane. This brings us to the end of the video, guys. I hope you liked our video. Do not forget to comment down which one on the list you found most disturbing. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share our video for more videos like this. We will see you with another interesting video soon.